existential resurrection theory. So this theory says that Jesus didn't really rise in history. He just rose in our hearts and in our feelings. Oh, sorry. But this doesn't explain facts 4, 5, 11, or 12. So it doesn't seem, again, it's a stretch of the actual facts. So I don't think this is believable. The spiritual resurrection theory. So those who believe in this claim that Jesus himself was just a spirit. He didn't have a physical body. Jehovah's Witnesses believe this, along with some Muslims. But again, this doesn't explain those same facts, 4, 5, 11, or 12. So much for these occupied tomb theories. Let's move on to some other potential theories. Now, again, think about this for yourself. Again, I'm obviously arguing for that Jesus really rose from the dead. But again, I want you to make up your own mind and think through all these different theories. Again, look at the minimal facts, these 12 minimal facts that are on your PowerPoint, and just come to your own conclusion yourself. So the next category of theories that are alternative to the resurrection are what you could call the natural empty tomb theories. So the first one, the stolen body theory. The authorities hid the body theory. Third, the swoon theory. Fourth, the Passover plot theory. And fifth, the Muslims' view theory. All right, again, let's go through one at a time, and I want you to reflect on each one. So, the stolen body theory. So, if this were true, this would make the New Testament writers the deceivers, not the deceived ones, right? So, let's get this straight. They stole this body of Jesus who, these guys are all cowards and things. They stole his body to be persecuted, beaten, tortured, and martyred. What would they gain from that? Think about it. What would they gain from that? How would they benefit from that? That's an extremely important question. Now think about Acts 16:27. It says that the jailer woke up. This is when Paul and Silas were in jail. The jailer woke up after this earthquake occurred. And when he saw the prison doors open, he drew his sword and was about to kill himself because he thought the prisoners had escaped. Because, again, in that day and time, if the prisoners don't do their job and people escape, then they themselves can be killed. And so I think the same thing applies to those who are guarding Jesus' tomb. They put themselves, their lives at risk as well. So I don't think this is a very good theory that his body was stolen. The authorities hid his body. Well, this just doesn't account for facts 5 through 12. So again, this is a really big stretch. So the swoon, or the fainting theory. Maybe Jesus just fainted and wasn't really dead. So he didn't really rise from the dead, he just appeared to be dead. Enemies and friends alike believed Jesus was dead. Again, think back to the JAMA article from 1986. Another thing to consider, again, in that time they embalmed people when they died. Roughly, and it's believed to be about 75 pounds, like the average amount of bandages and spices that they put. This is highly unlikely. So again, this was Joseph of Arimathea's tomb. So him and Nicodemus, they mistakenly embalmed a living Jesus. Even if all were wrong and Jesus was alive when he went to the tomb, how would he survive 36 hours later? Again, think about all the pictures that you saw in that JAMA article. That's the way that each person was commonly beaten and then crucified. And think about how the Bible describes even the prophecy in Isaiah 52 and 53. It says that he was beaten beyond human recognition. They mocked Jesus. Think about them. They were just having fun. Oh, you're the king of the Jews? Here, take this crown on your head. Boom, smushing it, making more blood come out. You know, they just had fun just beating him. They tried to beat him beyond belief. I remember watching the movie The Case for Christ, which is what you just watched that video, the crucifixion description song. But it's based off that video as part of the Passion of the Christ video. And I watched that video. And some people cried a lot in that movie. It was really just about the last week of Jesus' life. And I just remember being so angry watching that. Why? Because I was watching it and Jesus got beat up. Like, really bad, right? Before he got crucified. And I was like, okay, that's enough. Okay, he's beaten up pretty bad. And they kept beating him more. Okay, that's enough. Let's stop. Nope, they kept beating him more. Okay, that's enough. They kept beating him more and more. It was just ridiculous. And I can just imagine, you know how people get carried away in groups, people are egging people on, and they just probably went crazy on him. And so he survived 36 hours later, beaten beyond human recognition. Doesn't make sense to me. Even if he did survive, how could he get out of the tomb? If so, how did Paul see Jesus' bright light appearance on his way to Damascus? Which is really how he met the risen Jesus and became a Christian himself. This enemy of Jesus. He was going to Damascus to eliminate and kill all the known Christians of that time, of the area. But something changed him. He met God. He sought after God with his whole heart. And the promise in the Bible says that you will find him if you seek after him with your whole heart. So wouldn't Jesus have had way more scars? This wasn't mentioned in his visitations. People would have obviously noticed his appearance. Check out this passage. So the evidence just doesn't seem to match up with that. There's really strong evidence. There's evidence from John Dominic Crossan, who's one of the leaders of or I think founders of the Jesus Seminar. He said that Jesus dying on the cross is the surest fact we can know about the ancient world. So I think that he has nothing to gain by saying that, but I think that's significant. The Passover plot theory. So it's kind of the belief that people just got together, like the Christians got together, they plotted, they schemed, they planned for all that to kind of find a way to deceive everybody. But this doesn't account for facts 5, 6, 11, and 12. Just doesn't match the facts. So you have to stretch things to make this theory fit. The last of these category of theories is the Muslims' view. Now, really, as I've talked to people about this topic, only Muslims believe this. Why? Because it's in the Quran, in Surah 4, 157 and 158. It talks about how Jesus did not die on the cross. It says his body was taken up into heaven. And so because the Quran says it, we're supposed to just believe it. That's what happened to Jesus about 600 years later. Now, again, it just doesn't match the facts of history. We can look at all this extra biblical evidence related to fact number 1. All these people who are non-Christians who have supported the fact that Jesus died by crucifixion. I think that in and of itself, without the Bible, can demonstrate that Jesus died by crucifixion, which makes this teaching about that's in the Quran false. So both the Bible and the Quran cannot both be true. It's either one or the other. It's like, I mean, I guess both religions and scriptures could both be false, or one could be true, one could be false, but they can't both be true. Which one's really God's word? We'll talk about that next unit. But good historians would not give weighty consideration to writing 600 years later. Okay? So I think that's a really, again, it's a huge stretch. No one believes this except for Muslims, only because it's in the Quran.